Sir, I'm attending for the first time, sir.
Your first time, huh?
Yes, sir. Okay,
Okay.
I was in the college, but last time we were busy in scheduling the
Right.
gathering. So,
Okay. So, shall we start again or
yes, sir, please start.
again new? Fresh? Shall we start afresh or how do we go? Anyway, just I will spend 5 minutes for those who have come for the first time.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Okay. So then we will. Okay. Right. Anyway. So, you know what is project report, right? So project report is a report based on results. Okay. Results of a scientific research, right? Okay. So for example, you have a question. You have some what is called research related question. Okay. So for that question, you will find answers based on certain empirical evidence. What is empirical evidence? Evidence based on experience, right? Okay. So number one. Number two is your topic must be related to only media or the courses which you have in your program. Okay. That means they must be related to communication, mass media, advertising, internet, public relations, or public opinion, right there. So if your topic is not related to media, you can't take that topic, right? Is that clear? I think you must be very clear about the relevance of your topic to media related issues. Okay. So for example, if you want to say something about development, unless you link it to media, unless you link it to mass communication related topics, you can't take that topic. Okay. So next one is you will have, there is something called Viva-voce also. Okay. So what is Viva-voce? Viva-voce is oral examination of your topic. Okay. So in that Viva-voce, you have to explain what you have done, why you have done, what you have observed. Okay. So they may also ask you questions relating to your program also, what you have learned, something like that. Okay. So what is project report? The systematic and well-structured study of an issue or a problem to find a solution with application of research skill, right? So for example, what is the latest development in internet or media related fields? Last 5-6 months. Hello? Okay. So what is the latest development? Artificial intelligence, ChatGPT, Bard or something like that, right? So you may have doubts. You may have question in your mind that who is using ChatGPT, why they are using, whether they are using or not, for what purpose they are using. So this kind of questions may come in your mind. So to find out solutions, answers to that question will be your project report. Okay. So in your, if you see the internet or even other places, this project report is also called thesis, dissertation, or study paper. Okay. Right. So Viva-voce, it is oral examination. Right. So why? Okay. So we will, and another thing again, I want to explain, repeat it again. So what are the areas, what are the elements of communication where you can take a topic? So there is a model called Laswell model, Laswell communication model. It says who says what, in which channel, to whom, with what effect. That means who. You can also take your topic related to communicator or message. Message. Communicator means, for example, if you take a newspaper, maybe reporters, TV channel reporters, something like that. Message, news, what is advertisement, public relations messages, campaign messages. Okay. So medium, about, it may be print, that is newspapers, television channel, YouTube channel, okay, social media. So this is medium related topics. Receiver is audience, newspaper readers, TV viewers, radio listeners, computer, okay, public relations, target audience. And last one is effect. So what is the impact of particular program, public relations campaign, something like this. So you can take topic related to communicator, message, channel, receiver, effect. Okay. So as I said earlier, it may be about electronic media. Okay. So for example, testing, electronic media, mainly we see, actually at your level, we see viewing patterns. Why audience are watching certain television program. What is the impact? For example, if they are continuously watching a particular program, whether their thinking, their attitudes, their opinions about certain issues have changed or not. Or what is the impact of television advertisements? Or what is the impact of Discovery Channel on school children? Their science performance, subject of performance science subjects, right? Okay. So this kind of topics you can take, or you can be a print media, how much time readers are spending by reading a newspaper, what are their preferred subjects, whether they are reading business news, business page, sports page, political, health related news. Okay. So this can be, or even you can take a content analysis. So what is there? You can discuss detail later. Advertising, public relations, campaigns. What are the strategies of a public relations department? So research means it's a systematic process of collecting, analyzing information to increase our understanding of phenomenon with which we are concerned or interested. Okay. So it is collection of information, a systematic way of collection of information, right? So for example, if you want to study the impact of television on children, okay, impact of television on children's school performance. So we will systematic means every decision you take must be based on certain logic. Okay. So if you are taking students, school students, how you are selecting the schools. Again, how you are selecting class, how you are selecting students, whether the class school is private, public, that is government, CBSE, ICSE, international. Okay. So these are all based on our objectives, why we are conducting the research. I think earlier I have explained you about the need for specific definition of every term in your research. That is what we call operational definition. Okay. So as I said earlier, school student or student means which student? College student, school student, primary school, high school, intermediate, PG, degree, engineering. So you have to define it very specifically. That is what we call operational definition, right? So this is what we call systematic process, right? So phenomena, what you are seeing, how do we understand? Right? For example, who is watching cinema, TV, why they are watching like that, right? So research, is it okay, or is it, am I going very speed?
No, sir, it is fine.
Okay. So, right. So your research starts with defining or first taking a topic. I think, topic, that means which area, not even which aspect you are going to do your research study, right? So first, as I told you, it must be related to media, that is clear. So you can't take a topic which is not related to media. That is number one. So number two is, how do you take? You can take, as I said, any medium or any element of communication, that's okay. Next step is, your topic must be very precise. As I said, whether it is Hyderabad or within Hyderabad, we are going to do your study on Banjara Hills, something like that is okay. Number two is, it must be researchable. That means your time, your ability. Okay. So time means if you want to study entire Telangana or entire country, so it is not possible for your MA level because you have hardly 1 or 2 months time, right? So what you do is you take very limited geographical area, maybe a school, maybe a colony, maybe farmers in a particular village, okay? Or if you are studying content analysis, that means if you are studying what is published in a newspaper, that is what we call content analysis. So you will take maybe 1 or 2 newspapers. You will take 1 or 2 months of newspapers. So if you are doing a PhD, maybe you have to take 3-4 newspapers for sometimes 10 years, 20 years comparison, something like that. Okay. So the important point you have to remember is, while selecting your topic, it must be researchable within very short period because of your limited time, limited financial resources, and your need ability also. Okay. So that is one aspect. The other is whether we can get that information or data. So what is research? We said, you have certain question. You want to understand something about a communicator, message, channel, receiver, or impact. Okay. So you may, as I said earlier, you may want to know who is reporter, communicator related topics. Who is reporter? What is their social background? Whether they are satisfied with their journalism profession, what they think about journalism. Okay. So these are what we call communicator related. So message, as I said, what is there in a particular newspaper? How they are covering, how they are giving importance to a particular issue. That is what we call content analysis. So you want to know how newspapers are writing about a social issue. Manipur. How, whether newspapers are devoting any time or not. If they are devoting some space, how, what aspect they are highlighting. For example, there is a strike. How newspapers are covering, writing about that strike. Are they taking employees stand, government stand, whether they are giving full coverage? That means all angles they are covering, or they are taking sides. So as you know, most of the newspapers have their own orientation, slant. Okay, right? So one newspaper is towards a particular party, another newspaper towards particular party, like that. So this is what we call data, information. Based on this information, we will come to a conclusion that one newspaper is writing about particular party, other newspaper is writing about another party. Okay. So the second question is whether you can get the information. Is the information easily available? Can you speak to the people? For example, if you want to study maybe army, those who are working in army, so you can't do it because you have no access. The police personnel, so they may not give you information, right? Or for example, if you want to study something about MLAs or MPs, you may not be able to get them, right? So similarly, if you want to study a newspaper published from some other place, okay, maybe Calcutta, for example, Manipur issue, newspapers may not be available here. Or for example, if you want to study something about maybe 10 years incident, past incidents, 15 years past incident, you may not get those newspapers. So the second thing you have to consider is whether the information is easily available. Whether you have access to that information or not, right? So even another thing is very rare for your case. For example, ethical considerations. For example, if you do research, those who give information may be in trouble, right? So that kind of topics we should not take, right? So I think you know what kind of topic to take and what are the criteria to be taken into consideration before finalizing a topic, right? That is accessibility of information, availability of information, and the scope of the research. That is what I said. Scope means it should be limited. It should not take 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, right? So next is, why do we do research? Okay. So we do research to describe the phenomena. Number one is to describe the phenomena. What we call these studies are called descriptive studies. Okay. Describe means you just give description of audience. What is description of audience? Who are the audience? That is, what is their age? Newspaper, if you take newspaper, what is the age of readers? What is their average age? Minimum age, maximum age, like that. Okay. And whether they are male or female? What is their education qualifications? What is their occupation? What is their marital status, whether they are married, unmarried? What is their income? Okay. So if they are married, maybe number of children, right? Next, which newspaper or media also, we can take media. So which media they are using or consuming? Newspaper, TV, internet, social media. How much time they are spending on each media? What is the subject they are interested in? Why they are using various media, consuming, why they are consuming? Okay, right? Whether, for example, if you take students, is it for education purpose or entertainment purpose or keeping touch with students? So this is just descriptive studies. You describe the phenomena. Same if you take content analysis. What is content analysis? It is just studying the news published in a newspaper. News means which subject? Politics, agriculture, business, education, health, sports, like that. Okay. So these are all called descriptive studies. Okay. So next is, there is exploratory studies are there, but I think you need not go there. Okay. So descriptive studies, right? So for example, outside media, the best example descriptive study is census. You know what is census? Census studies. So census studies are descriptive studies. Okay. So they will describe what is the occupation, where they are, whether if they are coming to migrated, why they have migrated, is it for employment or something like that. Okay. So the method we used for these descriptive studies is survey. Okay. So then descriptive, there are other called analytical studies. Analytical studies means descriptive studies are what is there, who is reading, what is publishing. Okay, these are descriptive studies. Then we have analytical studies, that is, they analyze, they say why. Okay, so if you go deeper into descriptive aspects, you will get why. So why they are reading, why they are not reading. Okay, so is there any correlation between their social background and their media usage? So similarly, the impact studies are all analytical studies. Okay, so is there any relationship between parental background and media usage, and marks student performance, like that. Okay. So the next question is, when there are, for example, basically we can have this content analysis, that is what is there in media. Number 2 is, okay, so audience or communicator or impact studies. So where do we get this information? Impact studies, who gives information? Hello?
Sir.
Where do we get information? Impact study. Okay, so here what we call unit of analysis. So that means actually whom you are studying. Where are you getting your information? Okay, so unit of analysis means you can take information from individuals, right? So individual means,
Like
as I said earlier, it is audience or communicator. Okay, so you can ask information from individuals, or you can also study groups. Okay, groups, study groups, class as a whole, or impact also. Sometimes we can also study groups. For you, this may be not necessary. Next is organizations. So, for example, if you, I don't know whether you have read model research topics, project report topics, you will find case studies. Okay, so we can also study organizations. So when you see this Laswell model, where does organization fit in? Who says what, in which chart, with what it means? Channel related studies. Okay, so you can also study organizations. You can also study, observe organizations, right? So how the organizational setup of a public relations department. Okay, organizational setup of a TV channel, a newspaper, okay, or a web channel, internet channel, right? So these are all organizational studies. That means you are focusing, getting information from organization. So next is unit of analysis, social artifacts, means objects. Okay, so our content analysis, for the purpose of content analysis, we study newspapers, advertisements, okay, hoardings, right? For example, advertisements. If you take unit of analysis, social artifact means classified advertisements. Okay, so classified advertisements, what are the aspects they are focusing, right? So when we are studying individuals, right? Individuals, we will be focusing on, number 1 is characteristics. Okay, characteristics means their social, economic background. As I said earlier, who are they, their age, their education, their occupation. Okay, that is characteristics. Second one is about orientation, that is attitudes, beliefs. Pardon?
What is the characteristic?
Huh?
Your voice is not clear, sir.
Is it for all, for you only? Hello? Hello?
Sir, we can hear you, sir. It is okay.
So
It
I
is
think
clear, sir. It is clear.
maybe
It is clear, sir, for me.
who raised the issue, maybe you have to see your instrument, right? So when we are studying, when you take a topic, when it comes to individuals, that means when you are collecting information, data from individuals, right? We may focus on their characteristics. Who are they like that, you know? For example, as I said earlier, when you come to reporters or for example, advertising professionals, public relations, who are there in public relations field, whether youngsters are working or old people are working. Newspapers, youngsters are working, old newspapers are working. Or we can also study, compare. For example, 10 years ago, somebody must have done a study of background, profile of reporters. Now you can study it again. So you will compare the changes between these 10 years, whether the average age is increasing or decreasing. That is, whether youngsters are joining or old people are joining, or they are leaving. For example, after 30, 35 years, they may leave where they are going. For example, after COVID, several newspapers have reduced their staff. Several journalists have left the field. So, if the several journalists are left the field, you may have a doubt that where are they? Those who have left journalism, where are they? What are they doing? In which profession they have joined? Whether they are sitting idle. Okay? So these are all called characteristics. Then what we call orientation. So their attitudes towards a particular issue. So for example, if you take again journalists, what is their attitude towards journalism profession? Why they have joined journalism? Is it to serve the society or because there is no other job? They have joined it. Okay. So what do they think about the functions of journalism? Right? There are 15 to 20, you know, if you see the research literature. So the first function of newspapers may be give latest news, analyze the news, play watchdog role. You know, watchdog role to investigate what the government is doing, what the government is not doing, what politicians are doing, investigation, watchdog role. So some may think that it is not the job of the newspapers to research, investigation. It is just to give news, analyze news, give latest trends, okay, alert audience, right? So there are several functions, role perceptions of journalists. So when it comes to attitude, so you may be asking, what do you think the newspapers have to do? Similarly, attitude of readers towards journalists or towards newspapers, media, credibility. So this is where topics related to credibility comes in. That means whether they believe news published by newspapers. If you take Inadu, for example, which news they trust, which news they don't trust. Okay, political, business, all these things. So these are attitudes of readers. So they believe, okay, prejudices, personality traits, all these are orientations. So that means what is there in the minds of our unit of individuals, unit of analysis. Okay. So when it comes to organizations, you may focus on the policy or procedure. For example, if you take any media organization, what are the facilities provided to employees, women employees? About 20 years ago, women journalists were provided with transport facility. So if they work in night shift, the organizations would drop them at their home, like IT industries are doing now. Okay. Whether they are given maternity leave, what are the facilities, these are all organization related studies. So other social actions, that means, for example, maybe how decisions are taken in newspapers. So, for example, for these kind of studies, what we do is observation. So you go to an organization, you sit there, you observe whether juniors are given freedom to decide about news, headlines, all these things. Okay. So, is it clear so far, or any doubts? You just tell me. Hello?
No, sir.
Are you able to relate it to your existing idea about your research topic? Or... Hello?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Right?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
It's fine.
next.
It's fine.
Next. So now we will see. So I think, basically I have explained about content analysis aspect. That means we are studying content, what is there in a newspaper. Second thing is about individuals or people. Maybe they may be communicators, they may be audience, right? So audience research, when it comes to audience or communicator research or individuals, when you want to collect information from individuals, right? So which one do you take the first decision? Is it individuals, or how do you take, for example, when you take a topic, so when do you decide? Your information you can get from individuals or some other place?
Individuals.
Can we get by online?
Yes. Then that aspect will come later. Okay. So let us first discuss about individuals, right? So when you are collecting individuals, that means when your topic is about individuals, that is communicator, audience, their characteristics, their attitudes, their time spent on media, or impact of media on audience. These are all the areas where we get information from individuals, right? So for individual related topics, the method we use is survey method. Okay. Survey method we use to collect data or information from individuals, right? So I think we will go a little back. So there are two kinds of studies, data. One is primary data, other is, can anybody tell me? Primary data?
Primary data.
Primary data and Secondary data.
Secondary data.
Secondary data, sir.
So primary data is
Basic.
you collect. That means researcher collects information for himself. That is primary data. Okay. Primary data means the researcher himself collects the data. If you are doing a study, you go personally and collect data. That is what we call primary data. Okay. So there is another data called secondary data. That means you use data collected by some other person, some other agency, maybe government or like that. Okay. So for example, if you are using census data, is it primary data or secondary data?
Secondary data.
Right, secondary data.
Secondary
Similarly,
data.
right. For example, if you are doing a study on circulation trends of newspapers, okay. So we have discussed, we can also do study on channel media, right? Circulation trends, how they are changing over the years, 10 years, 15 years, or like that, okay. Or you may see if there is any relationship between circulation and TV viewership or internet usage. So circulation, right? And TRP, TV viewership. So is it secondary data or primary data?
It's a secondary data.
TRPs, television rating points we call. Okay.
Primary data.
TRPs. Is it primary or secondary?
Primary data.
Okay. Right. So where do we get these circulation figures? Authenticated circulation figures. Can anybody tell me where do we get? Hello?
Where do you get?
Circulation figures. Where do we get?
Circulation figure, like a newspaper.
No.
No.
You can't go to 10 newspapers. They may not give you. There is an agency called ABC.
ABC report.
Audit Bureau of Circulation.
Audit
Audit Bureau of Circulation figures are reliable, authentic, because they are certified by who certifies? Chartered
Newspaper of
accountants.
India.
Chartered accountants. No, Audit Bureau of Circulation sends chartered accountants to newspapers. So they will verify the circulation figures. Paid circulation. Paid circulation, not free circulation. Okay. So that is authentic information. So if you are doing any study related to circulation, that is called secondary data. Okay. Similarly, if you are doing a study on TRPs, television rating points. So there are agencies which give television rating points once in a week. That is also secondary data, right? Okay. So before you start,
what are the agency names, sir? TRP television rating points. What are the agencies?
Just 1 minute. Earlier, for some time, because of this COVID, they have stopped giving this information. There are two kinds. One is even this Doordarshan also give bark. It is called bark. Okay.
Bark.
Right. So similarly, there are, for example, where do you get this internet usage figures? How many handsets? How many persons are using mobile phones, smartphones? Okay. and how many have access to internet? Where do you get that information?
Through some applications.
Oh, any other person? You tell me. Just try. How many persons are using telephones in India? What percentage of those telephones are smartphones? How many individuals have access to internet? Or even how much time they are spending, how much money they are spending, like that. Anybody? TRAI, T-R-A-I. What is TRAI? Telecom Regulatory Authority of India. Okay. So I think every month, Telecom Regulatory Authority of India releases statistics related to which telecom operator has how many subscribers. Okay. So like that, there are some other industry agencies reports we will get. Okay. So these are all called secondary data. So when secondary data is available, you need not collect data on your own, right? If somebody has collected data, it is readily available. So there is no need to collect data again, right? So when you are doing a survey, right? When you are doing a survey means when you are trying to collect data from individuals, you have to see first whether that data is available or not. Okay. So if it is readily available, we need not collect it. So then question comes. So if you have to do your own survey, that means if you have to collect data on your own from individuals, so we have to decide how do we collect it. Okay. So what we call in research, we use certain research tools. You know what is a research tool? Can anybody tell me? Hello? What is a research tool?
Research.
Research tool means, what is a research tool? Research tool or research instruments are nothing but questionnaires. In research, they use the term research tool. So one instrument, one research tool we use to get information from individuals is questionnaire. You know what is a questionnaire?
5 Ws, 1 H.
No, that is intro or lead. That comes in reporting.
Okay.
Questionnaire means it is a set of questions. For example, I have been explaining, descriptive means age, occupation, marital status, income, education qualifications. So how do you get the information from readers? For example, if you are doing a study on readers of a newspaper or a TV channel. So how do you get that information? We prepare a questionnaire. A questionnaire is a list of questions, right?
But actually, sir, who is the questionnaire, sir? How to get the questionnaire? Who is the questionnaire and how to get the question? Hello, listen to me.
Right. First, you first understand. I think so far is it clear? We can get information from individuals or newspapers or TV channel, right? You have taken a topic which requires data or information from individuals, right? To get data or information from individuals, what we do is we prepare a questionnaire. What is a questionnaire? It is a list of questions. Okay. It is a list of questions for your research. Right? Is it clear? What is a questionnaire?
Yes, sir. Yes.
It is. I will send you. You can see what is a questionnaire. I think some of you must have read already, seen already. Okay. So questionnaire means it is a list of questions. Questions related to your research topic, or what we call objectives. Okay. So, for example, if you are doing a research on use of social media by, let us say, senior citizens. So, why and how they are using social media? This is your topic. So, where do we get info? Where do you get senior citizens? Tell me. What are the various places where you get? Hello?
Like holy places mainly.
Holy
Places, yes, sir.
You are not going to know because you have just only 1 month. So we have just only limited time, right? Where else? Simple. You need not go holy place. What is? Old age home.
I was about to say, but I thought it would be a
Okay, old age homes are there, or you can also go house to every house. You can say whether you are a senior citizen, what's your age. So you ask him certain questions. So what questions do you ask him? Tell me.
Questions related to if they read newspaper, they have mobile phones, they have internet connections.
Internet action.
Which
whether they are, for example, do you have iPad? Do you have computer? Do you have smartphone? So which social media you are using? How many YouTube channels you have subscribed? Facebook, Twitter, all these things. So how do you get the information?
By questioning.
How do you get the information?
By questioning.
Question. So these kind of questions will be there in the questionnaire, right? So what is a questionnaire? Questionnaire is a list of questions. So what questions do you ask depends upon your topic, your objective. That means which aspect you want to study. So within social media, you can also do a study on, tell me, anything? What are the various, for example, in the earlier example, old age example, we are studying just use, why they are using, how much time they are spending, which social media using, they are seeing films, cinema, jokes, health, that's all. Okay. So you will ask the questions.
What are the impacts?
Okay. What is impact? Okay, that is for your level, it is very difficult. Okay, right? So impact is very little bit difficult for you, right? So for example, addiction. Somebody may be interested in social media addiction among teenagers. Okay. So what do? What questions you ask? Extra questions you tell me? 1 or 2? Social media addiction among school children, junior college children, something like that. Okay.
What makes them watch a particular program?
So today we are discussing about
Children about smartphones using.
Okay. Whether it is children, whether it is school children, that is different. But our focus is on social media addiction, right?
How much time they do
Consuming.
spend on that?
Okay. So, right. For this, actually, we define what is social media addiction. What is addiction? So you need not define afresh. There will be definitions. Okay. So you will ask different questions, right? So that means, what does it mean? Your questions will change depending upon your topic, your focus, right? Okay. So that means you have to include questions. You have to ask questions depending upon your topic, depending upon your research objectives. Okay. So, you know what is a questionnaire? A questionnaire is a list of questions. The questions must be related to your research topic and objectives, right? Is it clear what is a questionnaire? So for all your topics relating to people, relating to individuals, must have a questionnaire, right? So if you are collecting information from people, individuals, you will prepare a questionnaire, right? Okay. So there are, in questionnaire, there are two kinds of questions. One is, can you anybody tell me what are the various types of questions? Hello?
Open-ended questions.
Right. What else?
Closed-ended.
Right. Open-ended question, closed-ended questions. So closed, open-ended questions need answers, elaborate answers, or not uniform answer. That means, for example, if you ask a question, what is closed-ended questions are like objective type questions, right? So, for example, which channel is, which is your preferred channel? If it is a open-ended questions, you will leave a blank. They will write channel name. If it is a closed-ended questions, you will give alternatives, channels 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Newspapers, for example, which newspapers? Okay, which newspaper do you read? If it is a blank, this is open-ended question. If it is a closed-ended questions, you will give Eenadu, Andhra Jyoti, Andhra Prabha, Hindu, Express, like that. Okay. So similarly, for all your objectives, you have to prepare alternatives. That is what we call closed-ended questions. And closed-ended questions are very useful in preparing tables, right? For example, if you are asking questions from 200 people, open-ended, you will get 200 answers. And it is very difficult to quantify. So if you use closed-ended questions, you will get answers which can be quantified. Okay. So I think somebody is waiting. So we will start here. Maybe 1 or 2 questions. If anybody has a question. Anybody?
Sir,
any question?
Related to our project, like to which email ID are we supposed to send the synopsis, sir?
I think we will give you one email ID.
Right, sir.
Okay. And don't forget to mention your occupation or even work profile, right? Okay. This helps us to fine-tune your topic relating to your occupation, because it will also helps you in your day-to-day working. It becomes easy, right?
Sir, can we give any two or three topics, or should we select only one topic?
Okay, no problem. If you give two or three topics also, okay. So we can suggest you better one, which you can do it, which is actually the first basic criteria of choosing a topic is it should be new, it should be relevant, okay. And if it is relevant to your profession or occupation, that will be even better. And don't give whatever is given in your manual, right? So they are only just indicative. Okay.
Exactly.
Right. Anything else?
And what is the last date of submission to the email ID?
No. If you send it early, we will do it. You can complete it early with you will get a quality report, right?
Okay. There is no last date for that.
Right. It will be there. We will give you. But another suggestion is you try to read methodology chapters, survey research, how to prepare a questionnaire. Okay. So in the meanwhile, you read methodology chapters. Okay. So anything else?
As if no. But in future, if it is there, we'll definitely ping you, sir.
Okay, right. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Right.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Thank you.
Hello. Hello.
Yes.
Sir, next Sunday class is on or not, sir?
Yes, we have class next Sunday.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.